Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It is Thursday night here for another edition of Above the Cushion. I want to thank everyone for being patient with me, running a little bit behind schedule tonight. And then, of course, the internet wanted to have some fits trying to get the stream going. So I do appreciate everyone's patience in that. And, of course, we have a great guest waiting in the wings. Been on the list for quite some time, been trying to get to him. Of course, a few in front of him, but we are finally there. We're going to have a conversation with Chase Sigg as he's waiting on hold. Do have a few things we need to talk about before we get started. Of course, Spring Fling weekend for Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway going to kick off tomorrow night over at the world famous Humboldt Speedway. Looking forward to that. Going to be a great night. We'll get to the event details here in just a little bit. And then, of course, Saturday night, we're going to continue Spring Fling right here at 81 Speedway. Want to remind you, Sunday, Little 81 Speedway Kart Park going to kick off their season. So if you come out and support the kids at the go-kart track, we'd very much appreciate that. And, of course, all that information can be found on the Little 81 Speedway Kart Park Facebook page. They also have a website, little81speedwaykartpark.com. Event information for the kart park can be found over there. Of course, no affiliation with 81 Speedway or Humboldt Speedway, but we do appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the kids getting going. Got notification a little bit ago that the Heartland Modified Tour has canceled in Moberly, Missouri at I-35 Speedway. Unfortunate for that track and all that. We know how the cancellations can really down the mood of a set of race fans, but we want to extend the invitation to all of the modified drivers for the Heartland Modified Tour. Come over Saturday night with us here at 81 Speedway. We're going to be running Alternative Pest Management USRA Modifieds, and if you want to be some of the best in the country on a weekly basis, you got to be right here at 81 Speedway. So we're hoping to get a pretty good crowd of the Heartland Modified Tour again. Notification coming out from the Heartland group. It's on the Facebook page. They have canceled at I-35 on this weekend over there for the Heartland Modified Tour. So we invite all of the modified drivers out here to 81 Speedway on Saturday, and enjoy some good spring fling action with some of the best weekly championship points USRA modifieds in the country. Again, we are going to run both Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway this Saturday, or Friday and Saturday, but let's get to our guest waiting in the wings, Chase Sigg from Iola over there. Buddy, how's it going?
Hey, doing great, Andy.
Doing good. Good to hear from you. You've been on my list to get to for a while. You guys are great supporters of Humboldt Speedway and of course the entire surrounding areas. You guys taking care of. I think I saw a baseball team you guys supported, and you guys are getting the demo derby stuff happening, and just a great family and a great supporter of all things in your community over there. I've tried to get your dad on several times. I chased him around for a few months, and he just kept talking. You don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to the boys. Oh, no one wants to hear from me. So never did connect with your dad, but good to have you on the show tonight.
Yes. We're happy to be on. We're happy to give our support locally. That's what it's all about. If we can support local, that's what we're here for.
Well, let's talk about some of the support you guys are going to do this year. Of course, bringing the A mods back to Humboldt. You guys jumped right on board along with some other partners, and of course you're kind of chasing the Heartland modified points as well. It's been well documented. First race out of the gate a couple years ago, picked up a heat race win at your home track, and so that's the modified's been going real good for you. But when John Allen wanted to bring back the A mods, you guys were one of the first ones to sign right up and get on board. Kind of talk about a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, we talked to John several years for the last several. We wanted to do something for the modified drivers. Just to try to get more of them here than what there has been in the past. I know in 2020 COVID year, kind of died out pretty good then. 21, 22, 20, 21 COVID year. 22 They tried to get them back a little bit. It seemed like they was only getting about 8, 9, 10 cars. And we talked a little bit to Ryan a little bit about it, and it was just kind of a dying class. But with Eric and Trent bringing them back with the Heartland stuff, made it so much better for our area. There's more people wanting to go buy a modified now. Um, I've got a brother-in-law, Kurt Drake. He's got a modified now. Ryan Smith, employee of ours, has a modified now. And my brother, he will be running a modified this year as well. So ultimately, that's what kind of led us to do a little bit more for the modified community, especially in this area.
Yeah, you kind of talked about it. The modified just kind of died out over there. There wasn't it just got a little out of hand on price stuff, and there just wasn't a bunch of big races and things to kind of support that. So most of that area went B mod racing. Very competitive class, of course. Some great standout drivers in that, and you guys kind of all switched to the B mod, and then when we tried to make a comeback with the modified, then some people started to get it together, and then of course when Heartland Modified Tour came out, it's going to pay some pretty decent money to race and good tracks and kind of centered around a blue collar worker schedule that Trenton and Stick and Eric all came up with. So like you said, yeah, the modifieds, I've noticed it being over there, just more people getting converting the B mod up to the A mod, or just getting a new car like you've done just all together, and just been a revitalization of the A mod over in the southeast Kansas area.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's go back to the very beginning, right? I put it out a long time ago that I wanted to connect with some of the Humboldt, Iola, Chanute, legendary racers, and of course your dad comes up. But let's go back to the very beginning. How does your family get involved in the sport?
Well, they first started out as drag racers. Um, my dad, he kind of got called out on a bluff to drive a car for Aaron Murray. Um, he jumped in the car and he said, "Screw that damn drag car." He said, "This is a lot funner." So he started that next year. He went out and bought a street stock, and I believe that him and Gary Lauer went in together and had a street stock together. Dad would drive on Friday nights, and Gary would drive on Saturday nights, whether it was Humboldt, Nevada, something, or Yates Center of that sort. That would have been probably 96, 97.
Okay.
I would have been 5, 6 years old. Really not enough to know about any of the racing, but I was there every Friday night and Saturday night.
Okay.
My dad, he started in the modifieds, and that next year he started modified racing, and it's kind of all over from there. He's been modified racing ever since.
So the first year you guys go street stock racing, and then he did the kind of team driving, which you hear that a lot. You guys, buddies are teaming up and getting a car together, and one of them will drive, one weekend, or like you said, Friday, Saturday night type stuff. So that next year he gets his own modified. We're gonna go modified racing.
Yeah.
What tracks are you pretty much traveling to? Of course, you guys live 10 minutes away from Humboldt.
He would have been traveling to Humboldt every Friday night, and then he would either go to Pleasanton, a little bit at Nevada, but mainly South Coffeyville. I know he made his bread and butter down at South Coffeyville. I think he had 8 championships down there in a 8 or 9 year run.
Wow.
He won a tremendous amount of races at South Coffeyville and a lot of races at Humboldt as well. But in 2003 era, Dan come up and asked him if he wanted to go racing up at Lakeside, Dan Oswald. And he was a big part of Clint Boyer's race team at the time as well. So with being up at Lakeside, he went up there, ventured off at Lakeside, drove up there for 2 or 3 years, 3 years, I believe. And about that time, I was getting interested in it, and we started running back down at Humboldt. And in 2009, I started driving modified.
Now, did you get in anything, before that, a goat kart or street stock, or you just kind of jump right into the modified?
I drove 6 races in a front wheel drive when I was 13 years old, and then we got rid of it. And I really didn't see anything else until I was 18 years old, which would have been a modified.
Okay, that's a pretty good little jump. We've seen that a few times. Last week's guest, Rick Beebe, of course, he jumped right out of a goat kart into a full blown late model ride. So
Yeah.
every once in a while, people jump right in and just take the major stepping stone. So it's not it's not unfamiliar.
We was thinking about driving like a B mod or something. It was kind of when the E mod class was coming in, but it honestly economical. My dad had enough parts laying there for another modified, so we decided that's what we need to do. We had spare engines and stuff. We're just going to build another modified. And at that time, the modified world was huge. Hell, every track you would go to would have a B main of modifieds and 20 in a B main of modifieds. There'd be 35 cars show up at any given night. So it was definitely some of the toughest racing that I've ever done. But I would have to say my learning curve was I had to learn faster. I just don't have to get out.
Yeah, here at 81, we had kind of they always had a rookie modified class for a few years, and then we kind of combined it into another situation, and everyone has a different take on it, but always been a personal big believer that you're only as good of a racer as the people you race with. So, of course, you got to listen to John Allen stories every once in a while, So he wants to go racing. He's got to get out there with the best of the best first night out and try to figure it out. And I would say for the most part, some of just jumping in with the better drivers and the better cars, and it does really pay off.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. You get to mimic their moves. Even if you're following them, you get to see what they're doing, how they're entering the turn, how they're coming out of the turn, where that tire spin is or isn't. So that definitely helps. It sure does.
Another big thing about you guys, of course, is Sigg Tire and Auto. Of course, obviously you guys are kind of involved in the motorsports world and working on the cars, but how does the tire and auto, how does the business come about?
Well, it would be my great great grandfather, Vic Sigg, started up a automotive shop, I would say in the 40s or 50s here in Iowa.
Oh wow, okay.
And then it went to his brother. Well, his brother and him had an automotive shop. Then it went to his Johnny Sigg, which would be a kid or be a son of Vic's. And Jerry Sigg has his own automotive business, which we worked for him for 8 years. Learned the ropes from Jerry. Decided we needed to do something on our own, whether it was tires or automotive. We knew we was already cut our teeth in tires and automotive. We knew we had to do something along that line. So that's when me and my brother went out on our own and started our own automotive business.
And what do you guys cover? Doing, of course, a lot of agriculture. Where you guys are at, big farming community, and you can always tell when it's harvest time. The grandstands are a little light over there for the races and stuff. But what's a variety of things that you cover?
Oh, we do transmissions, engines, engine rebuilds. We cover brakes, alignments, tires, lifts, wheels, really anything. involved in the automotive industry, we do it. We do a lot of ag stuff, tires, big tires, ags, go on the farm, that kind of stuff. I mean, we don't do any kind of paint or body. We work on our race cars enough, beating metal out with that. We decided we didn't want to get into any of that. So,
yeah. So, of course, you guys have a pretty good business over there, and a lot of support. But just to kind of go back to the racing a little bit, kind of talk about. I always like to see if someone can drum up the memory of their first win. What car were you running? What track were you at? Can you remember the night of your first win?
well, it would have been South Coffeyville was my first. It was a feature dash, um, and that's the one that I remember the most. It was my first year. I had uh, Johnny Bone in it, Pee Wee in it. Um, a lot of these guys that have won a lot of shows, and I mean, this was 5 races, 6 races in, um, and I went out there, and I think there was 12 cars in it. Went out there in a 15-lap dash, and I think it was a total of like $250 dash. It wasn't nothing big. I didn't get a trophy over it or anything like that, but that would definitely be one of my most memorable ones.
Little feature dash, $250. Not going to set the world on fire with that, but that first win always. Some people, you'd be real surprised. I've asked a couple people that, and they just can't remember some stuff about it. They know kind of what track it was and whatever, but they just have they could never remember who was in the race. Not name
Yeah,
anything. So some of that stuff, you hold on to it, and some people they don't hold on to that memory. So that's a good one to hear.
yeah. That would definitely be that would top them all. For right. I mean, unless I went out there and won a USMTS, but I don't see that for any anytime soon, by all means.
Well, you've had some pretty good success, with the Heartland Tour, of course. Like I said, kind of opening weekend, which was an anomaly. The weather was unfavorable for the USMTS, so they were seeing 40 and 50 car count stuff. But you go out in front of the hometown crowd and rip off a heat race win. That one had to be some validation that that's the right place to be for you guys.
Oh yeah, it sure was. We come in and with me and my dad talk every day, all day, and I tell him, we're close. We got to be close. I mean, for us to go out here and win a heat race win like this, we've got to be right there. And I think we went out and ran 10th or 11th in the feature. But like you said, there was a lot of bigger names there. There's Darren. There was Perry Phillips. There was Tyler Wolf. And we had some big guys there, and we outran some good cars, good drivers. So we knew we was close. We've always been close. We just maybe not have had the luck that we needed on our side to actually knock one off.
You know, the you local guys, Humboldt is just such a very different track. I talk about it on race nights and broadcasts. I've talked about it here on the show. It's 2 completely different straightaways, and it's 4 very different turns, and some people just cannot grasp how to get around that track. But that's where you local competitors, that's where you guys shine when the USMTS or the Heartland Modified Tour comes in, or something. You guys just know how to get around that very tricky surface. I mean, just looking at it from the grandstands, you can tell that it's not, nothing is the
It
same.
is. It's different every night you drive on it. You never have the 2 same racetracks. Whether it builds a cushion or whether there's no cushion, whether it's on the bottom in turns 1 and 2 and on the top in 3 and 4. It's always different. It is definitely one of the hardest tracks that I've ever raced on. Um, and I think it's because it's different every weekend. And even that being said, it's I've never won a modified race at Humboldt Speedway. Won heat races, ran 20 top five, probably a dozen seconds, but never have pulled off a win at Humboldt. And it's because of that, because it's a tough track.
I it's always a lot of people have that same thought about like Lucas Oil Speedway. It's it's just tough to pick up a win, but once you get one, they just pick them off like crazy. I mean, once you get that first monkey off your back, and you kind of figure out how to, the attrition of the laps, or like you said, the surface and how it changes, whatever. As soon as you get one, you start picking them off, and couple opportunities, quite a few opportunities this year for you, in your backyard to get some laps around there for some feature action. Of course, we'll see the Heartland Tour again as well. So, that you talk about the surface. John Allen try to have the same surface every week. Try to have the best surface you can, but never. I know that some racetracks they kind of throw a little. Let's dry it out this week, or let's wet it up this week, or whatever. He tries to have the best, but whatever that dirt is that Ron Whitworth went and found from somewhere. I mean, even Ryan has a hard time remembering where they dug that stuff up. That dirt is just very unique. It's unlike any other racetrack, and it's definitely unlike anything around it for sure.
Oh yeah, you'll look at the track and you're like, oh shoot, we're gonna tear up some tires tonight, and then you'll have a dry, slick surface and never hurt a tire one. You're think, oh hell, we're gonna have a hammer down track tonight. Then you go out there feature time, like, well shoot, I sure in the heck didn't think this was gonna happen.
that has to be that has to be probably one of the toughest things for you guys, is to try to predict what that dirt is going to do. Of course, probably one of the best at it is Scott Bloomquist. He could just read the dirt. He just knew exactly what the dirt was going to do. But that's got to be a challenge, especially on the Heartland Tour. You guys pretty much, you've been around a couple years. You've seen some tracks, or they throw some new ones in when they can. But you know, it's about that notebook, having that notebook to understand kind of what a track typically does. Like you said, every once in a while, super heavy rain, and then of course the dirt does something weird during the week. But that's got to be very helpful for the tour side of it, to try to build a notebook when you go race.
Yes, it sure is. We built a notebook on a lot of bad notes last year. We didn't build a lot of good notes by all means, but bad notes are sometimes just as good as the good ones. At least I can go back to those and go, we don't need to do this again. We weren't good here.
This year, I believe, got you a new car. Is that right?
No, I have the same car as last year's.
Okay.
It's a CDR. It's a dealer car. We didn't really do much to it. Stuck with the same everything. We didn't send it back down there to him. We was okay at the end of last year at I-35. Started opening night here at Humboldt. We weren't great by all means, but come feature time, we was a lot better.
You know, a lot of chassis manufacturers for the modified, especially around this area, quite a few. There's four of them just right here in Wichita. What's the decision to go with the CDR? How did you arrive at that?
Um, when Kate first started building them, my brother and I had a set of Dillard shock, and I've kind of always dreamed of owning a chassis of that sort. I wanted somebody in a late model team, whether it was him, whether it was an LG2, something like that, something late model driven. Um, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what we went with. And I don't know. My brother, he called him up and he was like, "Hey, when can we have a car?" And Kate was like, "Shoot, we can have one in 2 months, 3 months." And we said, "Okay, go ahead and get one ordered up for us. We're gonna do it." So honestly, it was really my brother's trigger pull that did it all for me. I, I'm kind of indecisive on that stuff. I don't know which way to go, and he pushes me towards it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's just, everyone has a hot streak. Tyler Davis and the blackout cars, they go good. Tanner Mullins and his Mullins Gen 3 cars, they go good. You get the CDR cars, so yeah, making a when you're gonna get into the modified world, it's got to be tough to try to make a decision on who you go with.
Oh yeah. Um, we talked about having Tanner build us a car. I didn't talk to Tanner personally, but amongst ourselves, we talked about going that way. Um, talked about with Tyler's cars. All of them are fast. They're all good. They're all great cars. Um, and the thing about Cade, he is, and I know it'd be the same with whether it's Tanner, whether it's with Tyler, whether with Bob. I've had a Bob build car as well. Um, they're all good. Cade, he texts me right after a race or something like that. Say, hey, you know, how are you doing this or how are you doing that? That was great to have that relationship as well, and he's been very good about it. Whether he's keeping up with all of his drivers, um, as I imagine any of the guys would. That's how they celebrate first.
Yeah, the other thing about the industry is all of the streaming, GoPros and phones. And do you use any of that to your advantage? Or we have a stock car driver here at 81, Bo Davis. Of course, he's the champion, from the defending champion from last year, but he has in car, GoPros, and he watches it, throughout the week, and he watches when we do stream on Race and Dirt, or and some other people film in his camp. They'll film from the stands, and just trying to understand what the car is doing, and how it reacts. Is that something that you utilize, especially on a traveling series type deal?
No, it's not. I should. Um, I could probably learn from it a lot more than just trying to just go back in my head and try to redo it over and over and over, and it's just not working. But that's something that I should do. Um, it's just kind of a time thing too. I don't have a lot of time to go over it. Kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. um, work all day, raise babies in the afternoon, and hopefully work on my car maybe from 9 to 11 o'clock at night. So there's just not a lot of time just to go over everything like that.
Yeah, the thing with you guys, and it seems like the area over there, big families, lots of family support. You mentioned your wife and your children, and anytime it's a event at Sig Tire and Auto, big on the family. You guys always do a family picture, and it looks like a victory lane
Yeah,
photo. There's a
we
there's a
we
building
are
hiding
we
in the
are
background.
definitely big family oriented. My grandpa, he had 14 brothers and sisters. So, and mainly all of them originate around Iowa. So whether it's going to a family barbecue, whether it's going to a race, there's always 20, 30 people around, and usually brothers, cousins, any kind of relatives you could ever think about. And we have big families as well. We have 4 girls, so uh, my brother has 3, my sister has 3. So we just went out and have bigger families as well.
Always curious to hear the how the wife is about racing. Did the so you get a mix. Sometimes the spouse is from a racing family, so they completely understand. We've had a couple guests that had one guest on, Emily Leap. She knew nothing absolutely about any sort of racing. First date with her now husband, then boyfriend, is to the races, and she got kind of a shell shock of it. So how is your wife about all of the racing, and did she come from it?
Yes, she sure did. She is a stepdaughter of Rick Mirko. So Rick was around the area, and Ronnie Mirko was around the area, Humboldt area, for several years. Which they would be, I believe, cousins with the Whitworth family.
Okay.
So yes, they've been around racing their whole entire life. She's been around racing their whole entire life. So that's not how we really met. We didn't know each other until we was 14 and 16. Um, we didn't know of each other, but we've definitely been around the racing scene our whole life.
And then I know you got some fairly young children, but any interest from the girls at the track? Do they're just kind of hanging out, or do you have one that really when a car starts up, she kind of perks up? She's going to be the racer.
We built a go-kart track out behind our house, so we get on it with our girls. Evelyn and Stella, they both enjoy it. Evelyn is 9, and Stella just turned 8. So they're kind of getting into the scene of the go kart racing. Um, I've got to get their go karts done so they can do a little bit more of it. But they definitely love it. My third would be Palin, and she's kind of a cheerleader. She just likes to dress up, princess. She's not really much into it right now, but she'll probably grow into it.
Yeah, it's always we have a family here where the son races, and then they have a middle daughter, and she's into it, and then the youngest daughter, you never see her. She doesn't. She has wants nothing to do with the racing. I don't even think she goes traveling around when they go to some other stuff. So it's always interesting, especially with the girls. I have 3 girls myself. My youngest is a boy, and of course he's going to start go kart racing this year. I've talked about that a little bit on the show, but um, I got one girl that she kind of enjoys it, and then the other 2, they want nothing to do with it. They could care less. They'd rather stay. If Dad says he's going to the racetrack, the girls are like, "Yep, we're good here at the house. Appreciate you. See you later."
Yeah, definitely. My 2 oldest, they've been asking me, "Well, are we doing racing this weekend? Are we doing anything this weekend?" Which they become good friends with Dustin Hodges' little girl,
Okay.
Andy. So they want to see Andy every weekend as well.
That's another thing about the Heartland Tour, is it. You guys are all kind of have small families, or not small families, but
Yeah.
littler families, younger families, traveling around. So that's got to be fun to get out on the road, and then you just kind of have your race family out there, and the spouses can hang out, and the kids can play together, and that has to be another fun thing for you guys as well.
Oh, yes, it is. It sure is. And that's what makes the Heartland Tour a little bit more doable than like USMTS or something like that. I know there's guys that do it with their families with USMTS, but it's just harder. I mean, if you're leaving out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you might not see your family for a week, where we can leave on a Friday afternoon. And you might not have to pull them out of school or doing anything like that. They just go with you, and it's just like it's a racecation weekend.
Um, kind of back to the back to the sponsorship at Humboldt for the year. I believe that we've scheduled all of them, opposite of any big shows. There's always, of course, some, as we get started here, the, April showers bring May flowers. It's kind of been a thing. There's been some rainouts announced around the area. Of course, I believe Caney has announced a cancellation for the weekend. We talked about it. Moberly at I-35 for the Heartland is going to rain out, but besides any rescheduling thing, you plan on making all of the Humboldt races for the year?
Oh yeah, definitely plan on making all the Humboldt races. I don't really know where else we're gonna go. We'll probably race over at Lucas Oil when we can, and 81 when we can. Our Saturdays will be a little bit more filled up, whether it's based or whether it's softball or anything like that this year. Little girls are getting bigger, so now they're into softball pretty heavy. So we'll be seeing a lot of that as well.
Well, want to remind you, Saturday here at 81 Speedway, Alternative Pest Management USRA Modified gonna race. So if you guys can get away from the softball fields, we'd love to have you over here to race with us in Park City. Another thing, and Trenton's not listening, and he'll catch this later, but one of Trenton's things that he absolutely loves is the signature race engines. We been telling him I'm going to try to get him a shirt or a sticker. He loves
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
loves
get him
that.
one.
Talk about the kind of in today's age of the super competitive modified, which you guys are in. You don't see a lot of people building their own engines. Kind of talk about that venture with your dad.
My dad, him and John Yeoman were still pretty close. He learned a lot from John at a younger age of building engines and stuff. He started doing it all of his own, whether it was with him and Al Weiland. Al Weiland played a major part in it as well. He built most of his own engines. He had to. It's just what we could afford, and it's what we can afford today. The engines are crazy expensive, and I know they cost that much. I mean, I'm not doubting that just because what we have in them ourselves.
Right.
But my dad has helped out a lot of people around our area, and the signature part of it, I just made up on a given night. I was like, hey, that'd be kind of neat. How that name come about. But he's done a lot for the area. He's built a lot of engines for the people around here, and he doesn't make what these big engine builders make on him. He doesn't even make close what these big engine builders make, just because he loves to go out and watch his engine run toward the front, as anybody would.
There's if you in the stands or I always invite people down to the pit area after the races to go down and just kind of check out. But if you get a look down there, the signature race engine is on quite a few cars. The Midwest mod, the Mod Mania Midwest Mod series that we have over there. You guys supply quite a few engines for that series, and then of course with the B mods and now with the A mods. So you guys have a fairly big presence, and they're not down on power by any means. So a lot of those signature engines are making their way over to Victory Lane on a weekly basis. That's for sure.
Yes, Dad has done a great job at doing his research on all the engines. He is very brilliant on whether it's clearances, whether it's making them last. He's been very, very good on that. We ran all last year, didn't expire in engine one, and we're running to 8,000 RPM every night, any given night. So that was a pretty big showing for what he can do, just in this little shop.
That's the biggest thing is making it last through the year. COVID really kind of exposed a weak point in not just engine manufacturing and manufacturing in general. Where we couldn't get toilet paper, we couldn't get band-aids, we couldn't get computer chips to for the Ford factory to or Chevy factory to make new. Exposed a big thing, and we're still sort of feeling some of those effects now as people move forward trying to rebuild engines. It's sometimes it's not next day stuff you're getting from the whoever, the Jegs or the Summit or the or wherever you guys are purchasing parts. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. And as what's going on with the economy right now, and oil prices, some people worry that things are gonna start to not be readily available as they are. So making an engine last is huge. You can have this big monster horsepower, and racing engines, of course, are always hand grenades. At any second, anything could go wrong. But having that secret sauce to be able to at least go 3/4 of the year or the whole year, that is huge for especially a smaller race team like you guys.
Yes, it sure is.
Um, you know, as all of us, no one's getting any younger. Is building engines something as you get a little bit older, and your dad gets a little bit older? Is that something you're taking more part in? Maybe you can step into that one of these days when he decides he wants to just be absolutely fully retired.
I really don't know. It definitely takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, um, which he doesn't. He has a lot of patience when it comes to that. Um, his time probably is a little bit more ready available than what mine is with raising my girls and my wife raising her girls and everything. We just got a lot of stuff going on. Um, I would like to do it a little bit more often. I do have my hand in it a little bit when I go down there to the shop, but not like he does. Uh, I don't know if I could keep up with the pace that he puts out now. He does really well. He's probably building, I would have to say 12, 15 a year on average. So it, him and Jerry Sigg, my uncle, he's been dabbling into it quite a bit more. He does the heads. He helps on the heads and stuff, or whether it's lapping valves and whether it's doing the cleaning. I mean, there's hours upon hours of cleaning and making sure everything is correctly, so it's not something ain't dirty going into it. So
Right.
I don't know if I have the time for it, and I definitely don't have the patience for it right now.
What other kind of motor stuff do they do? Are they doing street rod stuff? Are they doing diving into any agricultural type stuff, or are you just basically focused on the race motors over there?
Oh, he's built some street rod stuff. He's done some big block work. Um, Mainly small block Chevy is what he's into. He does a little bit of the big block Chevy stuff, but not very much. Um, just mainly race stuff.
Well, I know you're a very busy man, and I was a little late getting started today, so I don't want to keep you all night. You got stuff to do, and hopefully getting the race car ready. Maybe you come see us on Saturday. We'd love to have you over here at 81, but if you got softball stuff, I don't want to keep you all night. I do want to give you an opportunity to thank your sponsors, your supporters, your fans, your family, everyone that helps out, get that 18 JR out on the racetrack. I want to give you that
Oh
opportunity.
yeah. My dad is my biggest sponsor. With the engine work that he does, he is 100% my biggest sponsor. My second goes to my brother. With owning our business together, we're able to do it. My third, which probably should be my first, but it would be my wife. Um, she she doesn't give two shits of what I do, where I go, what race I'm going to. she's always 100% right behind me. Um, those are definitely the ones that I strongly represent. Brother-in-law Kurt Drake, he's always been there for me. Um, we do it just out of the tire shop, so that's what's even cooler about it. There, you probably see a lot of Sig tire on cars down there as well, and that is because of whether it's giving away a tire repair to a kid because he needed one, or whether it's throwing some used parts at a kid because he tore something up the week before. But that's the reason why we do it. We want to be more involved in the racing scene when we can and however we can.
Um, any merchandise stuff? You guys have shirts for sale? Any, if someone wants to get a T-shirt or something, where can they reach you on that?
Yeah, if somebody wants some t-shirts, we do have some t-shirts. Most of the time, I have quite a few of them in the trailer. So anytime I'm at a racetrack, we usually have a t-shirt or two with us.
And that's where I always tell people, get your grandstand ticket turns into a pit pass once we're done racing, and you're, of course, everyone is always welcome to buy a pit pass. But some people, they have T-shirts in their trailer, they're not able to get their stuff up to the grandstand. So I always tell people, go down to the pit area, meet your favorite driver, see who's got shirts, see who got a hero card, just talk to these drivers and let them know, and appreciate their support and everything. So if you guys are looking for a Chase Sigg T-shirt, get down to the trailer after the races and talk to him about the race and get you a T-shirt.
Yes, sir.
Well, buddy, I really appreciate you, and I'm very sorry for the late start tonight. Just couldn't couldn't quite get my stuff together in line. So I appreciate you very much. Want to thank you for taking the call and getting on the show with us. Looking forward. Um, Hopefully seeing you Saturday night. We're kind of putting you on the spot, but if we don't see you Saturday for some local racing, we're definitely going to see you throughout the year for some Heartland stuff, as we still have races scheduled at both Humboldt and 81, and then if time allows, maybe I can make an appearance with the Racing Dirt crew at another track and get to see you. But on behalf of the entire race fans, John Allen and myself, of course, I want to thank you. And you and your brother and your guys' business for the support of the A mods over at Humboldt Speedway. I want to thank you for your support of the entire racing events over at Humboldt Speedway. Without great marketing partners and supporters like you guys, we couldn't make racing possible over there on Friday nights. And we can't thank you enough for the things that you do for the community, for the racing family, and just trying to keep it alive over there on Friday nights.
Yes, we appreciate to have the track. We would definitely be lost without Humboldt Speedway.
We feel the same, absolutely. But man, I really appreciate it again for coming on the show. It was great to talk to you, get a little background story, and hear some stories from your racing. But we wish you the best. We hope that everything goes right the rest of the year. And like I said, we'll definitely see you down the road.
All righty. Thank
Right.
you very much.
Have a great night. We appreciate you.
Hey, you do the same.
We'll see you later. Well, good conversation right there with Chase Sigg from Iowa, Kansas. Sigg Tire and Auto, the signature race engine CDR race cars 18JR. We're going to see him hopefully Saturday night. He didn't give us a yes or no. Maybe he's got to ask the wife if they can go come over here to Wichita and get it on with Alternative Pest Management USRA Modifieds. Just kind of looking into the weekend, I know there's a big question, of course. We're springtime in Kansas, and weather is a factor. Crystal ball, as always, a little foggy. Not sure what's going to happen. We're not weather meteorologists, and even they can't get it correct. So make sure you're paying attention to the Facebook page for any announcements, anything that comes out. As of right now, everything is a go. There, of course, stuff coming up Heartland Modified Tour cancels at I-35. Caney Valley canceled some races. There's been some other tracks cancel, and then there's I believe I saw Arrowhead picked up a show because of a cancellation. So that stuff's all coming out, and of course, the website 81speedway.com, humboldtspeedway.com. Pay attention to my race pass, pay attention to Facebook pages, everything going on. That is where you're going to get all your information. Not going to make any calls tonight on stuff. And like I said, as of right now, we are a go for the weekend. So looking forward to tomorrow night, Spring Fling over at Humboldt Speedway. Kind of the same old story with the times as you guys can expect. Of course, racing going to start at 8 o'clock. Pit gates open at 5 and grandstands at 6 o'clock. Pit pass prices, of course, they're posted on the website, and nothing's kind of changed there. General admission, of course, your adults, that is 11 and older, going to be $15. Your seniors, 65 and older, and your military. Discount going to be $12 to get into the grandstands, and of course, children 10 and under are free at Humboldt Speedway. Event classes running this weekend, just your four weekly championship classes: Ray's Metal Depot USRA B mods, your Extrusions Inc. Midwest mod for the Mod Mania series, your mini stock and tuner division, and your Home Savings Bank Pure Stock division going to be with us tomorrow night over at Humboldt Speedway. We invite you out. We hope you can get into the grandstands and take in, of course, some great dirt track racing, and we appreciate each and every one of you that join us over there on Friday nights. Saturday, right here at 81 Speedway, another night of Spring Fling. So it's Spring Fling weekend here for Humboldt and 81 Speedway. Same times to get into to the races here at 81 as they always are. Pit gate's going to open at 3, grandstand at 5. Don't forget about the happy hour from 5 to 6, presented by the Rusty Nail at Tyrod Tavern and Jack's Place concession stand. And of course, race is going to start at 7 o'clock. $15 to get into the gate for 11 and older. Senior 65 in the military, $12. Children 10 and under, again, are absolutely free here at 81 Speedway and Humboldt Speedway. Event classes: Alternative Pest Management USRA Modifieds, Poorman Auto Supply USRA B mods, TM Fencing LLC Super Stocks, your Treasure Hunt Estate Sale Mini Stock and Tuner division, and of course your Allied Battery Stock Cars. So all of the divisions for weekly championship points are back in action Saturday night here at the Speedway. Got some stuff it's got announced on the Facebook page, but we want to talk about it. Going to have a memorial race in honor of Arnold Stoner. So the Arnold Stoner Stock Cars and Guitars Memorial, presented by TM Fencing LLC, is going to take place on May 9th, just here in a few weeks. Going to have a special at the concession stand. We'll announce that later. Of course, Tane Murphy will be in the driver's meeting, so wants to kind of give you guys, want to thank you for being there, and Tane and TM Fencing, great supporters here at the Speedway. Gonna do some special things for driver introductions. Got it working on a cool trophy as well, so that's gonna come out on the Facebook page. Another big thing that is going to happen is after the races, Harrison Steele is going to perform a little concert after the races. So we invite you to stay for that, and we'd love to have you stay for that and support that. It's how we kind of build those events is having you guys stay here at the Speedway and taking part in the concerts and the events and the battle of the bands that happened last year. Down on the main concourse during on the gate opening, to be able to continue to do all that and draw some acts into for stuff. We have to have the support of the fans, and we're hoping that everyone can stick around on May 9th for Stock Cars and Guitars, the Arnold Stoner Memorial. Looking forward to that one. Unfortunately, I won't be here that night. Got my oldest daughter is graduating from high school, so the boss said that was a good enough excuse to take the night off. So I will not be here, but be in memory of you guys, thinking of you and hoping for a good show. And we're looking forward to this. More information is going to come out as we get closer to the race, of course. And like I said, got a little special trophy that's going to come out for this. So we're working on that, trying to get that one completed, and then of course, once it's done, we will get it posted up on the Facebook page. For stock cars and guitars, $2,000 to win, $150 to start. This is a points race for Allied Battery stock cars. And we're got a special pace car. There's just a lot of stuff that's in this message from J.R. Sartain from this afternoon. Some of it I don't, want to keep building this hype around stock cars and guitars. Stock, of course, late models are my big thing that I love, but stock cars are second. You guys put on an absolutely great show at both Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway, and this is going to be a good one. And of course, in honor of Arnold Stoner here at at 81 Speedway. So more stuff going to come out, like I said, through as we go through the next couple weeks. But May 9th, stock cars and guitars, $2,000 to win, presented by TM Fencing LLC, in honor of Arnold Stoner. Of course, we lost him last year, and then we did a tribute to him. The family did off of turn 2, spread his ashes over there, and forever part of the Speedway. That's all I got for tonight.